We're so glad that you joined us this morning to remember the events 20 years ago and a couple hours ago. We want to have a solemn remembrance. People from Menard actually were in leadership, and I'm not talking about myself. Some of the people that you know that went to school here were in the overhead that did command and control. But we're here to remember over 400 police and fire and EMS people who died that day, and to remind everybody that people are still dying from those attacks. It was a day like this, clear blue skies, everybody going to their business. Thousands of people went into the World Trade Center complex, not just the Twin Towers, but there's a series of about 12 buildings there, or there were. Thousands of people went in there who'd left home that morning, not knowing what the day was going to unfold. Same thing for the public safety personnel that responded. We're blessed to have good people who would make the same sacrifices right here in Menard. You see the fire and police lined up, fire, police and EMS lined up over here. And they too are exposed to things and more of it than any person is designed to be exposed to in a lifetime. But we appreciate them. And as we memorialize those that gave their lives, let's give a hand for these first responders. We're going to do two things. I want to remind you that people are still dying from the attacks of 9/11. Back December 7th, 1941, our president, very shortly after that, said, "This is a day that will live in infamy." You know, and that was a surprise attack on military targets. There were civilians that were, but that was on military targets. 20 years ago, our president said, "We are going to take it to these faceless cowards who attacked our civilians." These were civilian targets that represented capitalism. And a disagreement in lifestyles and values led to thousands of civilians, just like the people of Menard passing that day, being murdered. We need to remember that. It's now been 20 years. Children have been born and graduated high school who were not alive during that time. I hope that you are reminding your family of those events, because there is evil in the world still today. But that attack was pure evil, pure evil. We've got to keep our guards up. If you don't remember the lessons of the past, you're doomed to repeat them. So, we also are going to recognize the thousands of military people that gave their lives and had their lives completely altered through the years following that. As our president during the attack said, we're going to take it to them. I was honored to be able to shake his hand and him tell this group of responders that went up there exactly what we were going to do. And he's done it. We have kept the attacks on the foreign shores due to these people. I am going to pass this now to our staff sergeant, or sergeant major here, who represents the military. This t-shirt is kind of the theme of the day. And this was given to me by one of my cousins who was in the Middle East when the attacks occurred. And simply it shows a firefighter in the rubble passing the flag out of the rubble to the military.
I'll take it from here, sir.
That was their theme. I'll take it from here.
Thank y'all for coming, and our sheriff's department, our police department, our sheriff's department, our fire department are here. Folks, I cannot say how great it is to be in this small community where we know each other and they've got our backs. And for you veterans out here, thank you. I'll make this short. We're Americans. There is no such thing as black, brown, yellow.
Amen.
We're Americans, folks.
Amen.
I don't care where you come from. If you live here, you were born here. Somebody comes to me and says, well, what nationality are you? I'm an American. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
My heritage, I think, is great. I think it's be bilingual. I think we need to keep our heritage and know it. But we are Americans. And I'll say this last. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And we need to stand together. God bless America.
Amen.
Hold your ears.
Atención. Escuadra, presenten armas. Escuadra, descansen armas. Retirar. Hide this from me, you want me to talk. Muy buenos días, damas y caballeros y los demás, a nuestra celebración de nuestra cultura, herencia cultural español. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, to our celebration of Menard's Spanish colonial heritage. I'm Terry Kelly. I have the great privilege to be the president of the Presidio de San Saba Restoration Corporation. And on behalf of all of us, and also Menard County in this capacity, welcome. We've got a lot lined up for you today. Shortly, we'll go ahead and start our walkthrough time, which will last about a half hour or so, but it will explain, I think, better than anybody possibly could, about the significance of what today is all about, and the importance of it is that it is to not only to Menard, but to Texas, to our nation, and also to Spain. So when we get done here with the walkthrough time, then it's not like it's going to be regimented. You know, you want to visit our various vendors, and I sure hope you do. There's great stuff out there, a lot of handcrafted stuff. We've got our food vendors. Those of you that are interested, of course, we got the wonderful Texas Sports Trail Wine Festival going on. We will have an 11-time Texas State Flintlock champion, Texas, of all Texas, Mr. Tom Compton. He'll be shooting the flintlock over back in that corner. You'll see him on the other side. He'll go through everything you need to know about shooting the flintlock, and he will also be firing that flintlock. We will also have our chapel recreation back here that will show you what that chapel looked like as part of the mission San Saba, which was destroyed in 1758, and the story of everything about that, including the foods that the colonists ate, because this was a Spanish colony. This was going to be another San Antonio. Just didn't quite work out that way. We also have for the kiddos a number of things, including their opportunity to practice some archaeology. So we've got our archaeology site out there, and they'll be able to dig for such things as Spanish doubloons, Jimboui silver, arrowheads. We got all kinds of stuff in there. And whatever they find, they can keep. So we have that over there. And of course, Over at the Presidio, we'll have our great Presidio soldiers, and they'll be over there to explain to you about what the life was like for being a soldier here on the Spanish frontier. We have some other wonderful Spanish colonial reenactors that are going to be over there talking about what it was like being a family member. Because when those 100 soldiers came up here, most of them were married. They enlisted for 25 years. So when they were transferred, the family came too. That's the reason there's almost 400 people living in that Presidio. And so that's the opportunities that you have there. We are greatly honored, and there's a lot more. We are greatly honored to have some really wonderful people today. One of them, representing our state senator, Perry, is Laura Lewis. She is his district director. And Laura? There she is. And Laura's going to make a few comments here.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having us. Senator Perry sends his regrets for not being able to come today. He's a history buff, loves Menard County. It's been a really rough session, as you all know. Governor Abbott just called the third special session, and today is a hearing on redistricting. So our entire staff is hard at work with protecting rural Texas and working hard for us. So please keep them in your prayers and know that they're definitely at bat for us. I learned a lot about the project and this week from Terry, and we'd like to recognize somebody who was instrumental in the restoration of the Mission Chapel. And so Senator Perry sent a certificate.
Bob Brown.
Hello. Congratulations. I'm going to read the certificate sent from the Capitol. Senator Charles Perry congratulates Robert Brown on your contribution and service to the restoration project at the Presidio de San Saba. In witness whereof and pursuant to the authority vested in me, I have hereunto set my hand and official seal of office at Austin, Texas, this 10th day of September, AD 2021. Charles Perry, Texas State Senator, Senate District 28. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Terry.
Don't leave, Bob.
Uh-oh.
Bob, what Bob is holding in his hand, we have a number of artifacts from the mission and from the Presidio. And this is a bell from the mission. And what we're going to do now is we're going to ring the bell 20 times for the 20 years since 9/11. Okay? And then Roy Brown is going to play taps. And then we're going to sing some patriotic songs. And then we're going to kick things off again. Okay. Please.
Thank you.